Robert Davis.
Just a little warm up. I don't want to turn everyone's world upside down. I just want to tell you a story. And this story actually turned my world upside down. When I was little, I was like 5 years old. Any 5-year-olds? No, 5? You're 5? Okay, well I was actually 6. So I was 1 year older than you. Okay, so I lived in Bothell, Washington, and this is a true story. It happened to me one late night. Is anyone scared of things? What are you scared of?
I'm scared.
You scared of monsters?
I'm scared of my closet because sometimes I don't jump.
Closets can be scary. I got locked in the closet one time. But that's a different story. Okay, so I was scared of ghosts when I was 5 years old. And I had a brother who would always take care of me. Anytime I was scared at night, he was on the top bunk and I was on the bottom. And all I'd have to do is go like this and say, "Wake up, George! George, wake up!" And he would say, "What's the matter? It's late." Because it was usually late when I got scared. And he said, and I'd tell him, "Well, I'm scared. I'm scared of the dark. I see shadows out the window." And he said, he'd look and he would tell me, "Those shadows are nothing to worry about. Those shadows are just trees." And so we named the shadows. One shadow looked like George Washington. And so we look at the George Washington tree and I wouldn't be scared anymore. Well, one night, I really got scared. Because I woke up and I went to get a drink of water. And I was walking to my door. I was a little bit scared for some reason. And then I grabbed the door handle and I turned it and it went. And then I opened the door and it went. And then I looked in the hallway and what did I see? It was a 6-foot-tall, shiny, white ghost! And the ghost was real. I rubbed my eyes and I looked, and the ghost was still there, and the ghost was floating. It was moving like this, and it was swaying, and his feet weren't even touching the ground. I was very scared. I was so frightened, but I didn't want to turn around because I didn't want to give that ghost my back. And so I slowly walked backwards. I didn't even dare close my eyes, because if I closed my eyes, then the ghost could just jump out and get me. But I didn't. And I walked very, very slowly, and I grabbed the door handle, and I turned the door like this, and it went, and then I turned around, and I saw my brother's bunk, and I just ran. And I ran to my brother, and I woke him up, and I said, "George, George, please, help me." And George kind of rubbed his eye, and he woke up, and he said, "What's wrong, Bobby?" And I said, "There's a ghost. There's a ghost outside in the hallway." And he said, he didn't even get mad. He was so kind. He said, "Okay, just a second, Bobby." And he climbed off his bed, but I grabbed his hand. I didn't want to let go because my brother was brave. I was 6 years old. My brother was 11. And he was brave, and he wasn't going to let any harm come to me, so I held on to his hand. And I was behind him because my brother was going to face the ghost before I did. So we got to the door, and my brother still had the sleep in his eyes. He turned the handle on the door, and he opened the door, and it went, and he looked, and I was hiding behind him, and I said, "George, see, I told you it's a ghost." And I was still too scared, but my brother was in front of me holding his hand, and he looked up, and he kind of put his hand on his head and rubbed his head, and he said, looked down at me very kindly and said, "Bobby, last night, Uncle Ken and Aunt Debbie came over to our house. They did their laundry and the dryer wasn't working. So Aunt Debbie hung her nightgown on a hanger on top of the vent right there. That's not a ghost. Go to bed." He turned around and he walked. And I kind of felt silly. I just put my hand on my head and said, "I'm so stupid." Walked to my bed and went to sleep. The end.